Today, the Toshiba PC-G10. What a lovely machine this is. This is from 1983 approximately, and you can see here a nice pan of the controls. Very simple. It says soft touch operation metal, and these are the buttons involved. They are sort of semi-soft touch. They're not really. They push levers as well as switches. And you can see here we've got the Dolby noise reduction. That's Dolby B, of course, and then you've got the normal CR02 and metal switch to select the different bias settings and playback equalization. Got record balance, and you've got the nice big knob for the record level. You've got microphones input, which is unusual for a deck of that age, and you've got phones. So altogether with the LED display, it's very nice. Looking at the back here, we've got power supply. It says 240 volts, 11 watts. It means it's not particularly power hungry. And it's nice and simple. There's nothing else on there except for the line in and line out. Then we look at the actual deck heads and pinch roller, and you can see there it's all nice and neat. It's not very worn on this particular one, so we take the hood off and have a look underneath the hood, and this is what you see: a simple single board with a little bit for the display on the back, and there's the motor. It's a very torquey motor. It does work quite well, and as you can see there. Now, this is a metal deck, and it's got metal sandwich, but you've got to make sure that these bearings are looked after. You've got there some screws which hold it all together. Now, this belt is one of the 3 belts on the deck. You've got the one that goes to the flywheel there, which I'm about to fiddle with, and you've got the one on the big spool there. That's for doing the fast forward and rewind. So it's important that that one's not slipping. Replace it if you get the opportunity. Now we're going to do the tests and see what it actually performs like. Because I always do these tests in the same way, you can actually compare one set of tests to another, because you know that the starting point was the same. Stay to the end for the listening tests. I'm going to present it in a slightly different order this time. As this deck does metal tape as well as types 1 and types 2, I'm going to present it slightly differently. Here we've got the type 1 trace from Audacity, and I'd show it to you just for reference. This is the type 2. Now you can see it's a slightly different shape. Then we're going to go on to the type 4, and then there's another type 4, which is where I actually recorded it. I recorded this at a high level and then played it back at a normal level so that we could see if there was any benefit without overloading the systems. First, the type 1 frequency sweep. As you can see here, the 0 dB is not quite as good as the -20. This is what you expect. And then we're looking at the silence. Now it's interesting, it stops there at 17k, or just slightly over. But on the CD2, it stops at slightly less. Now we're looking at the sweep on this Type 2. This shows the improved frequency response to the Type 2. The two levels look much more equal. This shows the overmodulation distortion on the Type 1 and 2, and you can see the Type 2 much better results. Looking at the silence of the Type 4, you can see that it still drops off at 17k, but the actual noise level is very much reduced compared to the Type 1, but not a lot compared to the Type 2. What is interesting is that the frequency response is about the same, but the signal over the noise ratio is much greater on the Type 4, so you get more signal, less noise. Similar to the Type 2, the Type 4 sweeps don't look any different, but here we've got the distortion figures, and you can see here that the little spike is a bit bigger on this overdriven one, but still brilliant levels. Looking at silence, here's silence on the Type 4, and then we go for the overdriven one, which is this. Wow, look at that. That's what you'd use it for. Now we look at the white noise, just because it was the same on all of them. Now for the listening test, the 4 different signals are the Type 1, Type 2, Type 4 overdrive. And it's quite interesting the way the results work out. You can see that they look very similar. They're all at a similar level. They were taken from the same source at the same levels. So that was entirely so that they were reproducible. And here we go. Now we're going to play the silences, just the bits of silence, just before the music starts on each of them. And you can see this is what it's going to look like, and you're going to get the sound in a minute now. They were all boosted so you could hear the relative differences. This is the Wow and Flutter figures, and as you can see, it's quite reasonable. It says 0.151, so that's more than adequate. Anyway, that's it. The deck itself is, for a low-end deck, it produces quite good results. I think the high frequency cutoff is due to having a built-in multiplex filter. They didn't want more buttons on than they needed. Anyway, if you got anything from that video, then please pop the like button, subscribe, and we'll see you next time. There's some more videos popping up on the screen now. Maybe one of them will sort you out. Cheers. Bye-bye.